When I think back to that time, I can still remember the smell. Not of coffee exactly, but of something more than that. The way a new day feels when you haven't decided yet whether to hope or to give up. I used to arrive early at the office, earlier than most. The building was always cold at that hour, the kind of cold that sneaks under your sweater and makes you hug your arms for warmth. I'd set my bag down, switch on my desk lamp, and head straight for the little kitchenette by the window. That's where my morning ritual began. 1 cup of coffee, just the way I liked it. 2 sugars, a splash of my favorite hazelnut creamer, and silence. It was the only moment of peace I had before the phone started ringing, before my manager's voice filled the air with lists and deadlines. That creamer was my small comfort. Maybe that sounds silly, but when you work long hours doing tasks that feel invisible, little things become big. It was expensive, too. A brand I treated myself to after payday. I'd keep it in the fridge, tucked behind the milk carton, with my name written in neat black letters on the lid. At first, I didn't notice anything wrong. Maybe the bottle was lighter than usual one morning. Maybe I told myself I'd poured too much the day before. But then it happened again. And again. Each time I made my coffee, there was a little less creamer than I remembered. At first, I tried to ignore it. People forget boundaries sometimes, I told myself. Maybe it was an accident. But accidents don't repeat themselves every day. By the 3rd week, I was sure. Someone in that office was stealing it. My small, sweet moment of peace. I remember standing there one morning, holding the half-empty bottle in my hand, feeling embarrassed. That's what surprised me the most. Not anger, not frustration, just this quiet embarrassment that I even cared. It's strange, isn't it? When someone disrespects you in a small way, it almost feels wrong to be upset. You tell yourself it's just coffee, it's just a little thing, but deep down, it's not the coffee that hurts, it's the message hidden behind it. You don't matter enough to be respected. I didn't talk about it with anyone at first. I worked in a small marketing firm, the kind of place where gossip travels faster than email. There were 12 of us, and though we all pretended to be friendly, there were little cracks underneath the smiles. Marta, who sat 2 desks over, always wore bright scarves and had an opinion about everything. Daniel, our new hire, was polite but distant, always typing too fast, as if trying to prove something. And then there was Julia, our team leader, confident, loud, always sipping from her travel mug and laughing at her own jokes. I told myself it could be anyone, but somehow I couldn't shake the feeling it.
When my daughter-in-law told me to stay out of their house, I didn't cry. I just stood there, holding the small bowl of curry I had cooked for my son, and smiled. The smile didn't come from strength. It came from disbelief. The kind you feel when something you never imagined suddenly becomes real. I still remember the smell of the rice simmering that morning. It was his favorite. Coconut rice, the way I used to make it when he came home from school hungry. He used to shout from the gate, "Ma, is lunch ready?" And his voice would fill the whole lane. That voice hasn't called me Ma in a long, long time. I live in a small town surrounded by fields and dusty roads. Our home isn't big, just 2 bedrooms, a small veranda, and a courtyard with an old neem tree. My husband, Ravi, passed away years ago when our son Arjun was just 12. After that, it was just the 2 of us, mother and son, trying to figure out life together. I used to work part-time at the local school's kitchen. It wasn't much, but it helped us survive. Every rupee I earned went toward his schooling. I remember sitting late at night sewing clothes for neighbors while Arjun studied beside me. He'd sometimes fall asleep on his books, and I'd gently lift his head and say, "You'll get a stiff neck if you sleep like that." He'd smile and mumble, "Sorry, Ma," before drifting off again. Those nights were our whole world. Quiet, simple, filled with love and dreams. Arjun was a bright child. He always wanted to do something that made me proud. When he got a scholarship to study in the city, I cried and laughed at the same time. It was the first time he was going away from home. I packed his bags 3 days early, shirts ironed, notebooks covered, and a small steel lunchbox tucked inside. At the bus stop, he hugged me tight and said, "I'll call every night, Ma. Don't worry." And he did. For the first few months, we talk about his classes, his new friends, the food he missed. He'd ask, "Did you eat on time?" And I'd tease him, "You've become my parent now." Those phone calls were the highlight of my days. The world felt smaller when I heard his voice, but slowly, the calls became shorter. Then they became less frequent. He'd say, "Ma, I'm busy," or, "Ma, I'll call you tomorrow." And sometimes tomorrow never came. I told myself he was just busy. That's what young people do. But deep down, something started to ache. It's not anger, really. It's more like emptiness, a quiet space where love used to live. Years passed. He finished college, got a job, and called to tell me, "Ma, I'm getting married." My heart leapt with joy. I still remember standing in the courtyard hearing those words. He said her name was Ria, a sweet, polite girl from his office. He sent me her photo through a neighbor's phone because I didn't even have one of my own back then. She looked beautiful, kind eyes, a shy smile. I prayed she would love him the way I did. The wedding was in the city. I wore the same green sari I had worn for his graduation. I didn't mind being the simple village mother among all the fancy people. I just wanted to see my son happy. During the ceremony, he touched my feet and said, "Thank you for everything, Ma." I blessed them both and whispered, "Stay kind to each other." That was all I wanted. After the wedding, Arjun called less. He said he was busy settling in, adjusting, learning about married life. I understood. Every